Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're going to quickly go into the first actual fun part where we're going to actually manipulate and model this cube. This is where we left off from the camera view on the last lesson. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm going to switch back to the top view, and then like I said before, I'm going to hit the tab key and switch into edit mode. I'm going to wheel the mouse forward and then hold down the wheel button so I can pan up so you can see the different parts of the cube. And what we're looking at here, you see these little tiny dots here, 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 and here. These are what are known as vertices, just the corners where these lines meet up. These lines are known as edges. I mean, it sounds a little silly to most people, but the edges meet at vertices, and then where three or more edges and vertices are concerned, you end up with a flat face known as a face. Seems pretty straightforward, but it is really important. And right now we're in vertice selection mode. If you look at these little icons here, this is how you can pick the mode that you'd like to work in. So to switch to edge mode, you see that these little dots, the vertices, have disappeared. So now I can pick only edges. Only edges. And if I want to go to faces, you'll see dots appear in the middle of the face. So now I can only pick faces of my cube. So back to vertices, just to show you. Only vertices. Okay. So now you notice that when I right click, this is how you select everything in Blender, you use right click. So when I right click on the vertice, these helper arrows come up. Now if you want to move a vertice, you'll stretch the cube in the direction that you move the vertice. In 3D mode you're going to be a little bit inaccurate moving things. You can switch the views like by pushing 1 or 3 or 7 like before. So if we move it from the side view and we grab, this is a confusing part, but if you want to grab an arrow, you actually need to use the leftmost button. To select everything in Blender you use right, but for some reason you grab these arrows with left. Maybe it's just so you don't accidentally grab something else, I'm not sure. So you hold in the leftmost button on the arrow you want to move, and you'll see that we've now moved that vertice roughly halfway in the upward direction. Now if we hold the middle mouse button down, you'll see what it did to the shape. Starting to get a little bit more fun. Still kind of bland, but it's getting a little bit more fun. So that's moving a vertice around. And a shortcut to do that, and maybe a more freehand way of doing it, is if you push the G key. All these shortcuts are in the manual that's been provided. So if you push G, you can actually move it all around, and then you just left click when you want to stop. So I'm going to go into edge mode, right click on a side, and then I'm going to push G again just to show you the sides moving around and what it does to the shape. We'll pan around. You're getting a pretty funny looking shape now. One more, I'll grab a side, and then I will pull it out. It's going to stretch the whole thing. I'll proportion it to the size of the face. So there you go. That's grabbing is what it's called with G. So I'm going to hold in Control and push the Z key until it undoes all the changes, and we're back to where we started. So that's Control Z. And then Blender allows for quite a few undos. And what I want to show you now is extrusion. And what extrusion is, it's kind of like grabbing and stretching, but it actually creates more vertices and faces and edges. And usually you'll do extrusions in face mode, but not every time. So click on face selection mode, pick a face, and then push the E key, and you'll see that that white line that just popped up through the center. That's actually a guide that's going to make it so it's straight, so it doesn't go all over the place because you're in 3D mode. So you can only go in the left or the right direction. If you want to get rid of that line, you push the middle mouse button, then you have full control, but you may end up with something pretty funny looking. If you push the middle mouse button or the wheel mouse again, you'll put it back. So then you've now kind of duplicated the original cube, but it's attached at this seam, which was the right side of the cube. Well, right side from this view, but it might be a different side depending on the view you're looking at. So you can also extrude vertices. Highlight the vertice by right-clicking, hit E, and then you'll extrude the vertice, and it will create a new edge. You will have to do that sometimes. But like I said, it's most common to extrude from the faces. And if you're already in vertice mode, you can extrude a whole face. If you hold in Shift and right-click on vertices, it allows you to pick more than one. And now if I extrude, I had to pick region right there. It'll extrude the face because these 4 vertices make this face. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z just to get us back to the first cube. And I'm going to show how to rotate this guy. So if you push A means highlight all, and if you push it again, it unhighlights all. So A to highlight all, and then R, and you see that it puts this dotted line out from the center here, and allows us to rotate the cube all around. That's essentially it. I mean, you don't have to rotate the whole cube. You can rotate a couple vertices, undo, or you can rotate an edge, which is essentially going to be the same thing as 2 vertices. And then the other option that you can work with, or one of the other options, is scaling, which means shrinking or growing. So since we have this edge selected, if I push S for scale, same thing, that dotted line pops up, and then I can stretch or shrink what I have selected on. Same thing, I can change to face selection mode down here, right click on the dot in the middle to pick the face, and then scale down or scale up. It's a very useful tool. You'll scale a lot of things. You don't really rotate that much. I mean, it's useful to do, but you'll mostly use that for positioning your camera and lighting, that type of thing, down the road. So that's the basic introduction to actual modeling. You can see from the different angles from the numpad. And if you're ever changing your views in the numpad and they don't look quite right, push 5. 1, 5. 5 actually changes a few different views. So for now, that's our basic introduction to modeling. We're going to actually get into making some specific shapes and designs just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do. But for now, just play around with the model on the screen. You know, try to make some shapes with your own imagination, and in the next lesson we'll create something specific and we'll color it and render it. So I hope to see you there, and I hope you're enjoying this so far.